You're listening to the Afro Chi Podcast, a show for my fellow Black female energy healers and the everyday woman who wants to heal her energy in a creative and holistic way. You'll hear from Black female healers who share their knowledge, gifts, and experiences and enlighten you on how to tap into your powerful Black energy to get the results you need to live an energetically free life. If you're ready to become unstuck, find freedom and peace energetically, stay tuned. I'm your host, Kiera Flipping. Hey Queens, this topic could not have come at a better time. If you are listening to this episode in real time, which would be in the midst of COVID-19, then you are aware of the stress that is filling the world right now. Our guest today is here to tell us how we can use tools to help clear the energy in our space and bring us more peace during this time. And if your house is anything like mine, it is full of energy right now with everybody having to stay inside. Our guest today is the owner of Rock Collage, a space where you can purchase all of your healing necessities and engage with her in personalized healing services. Our guest today is the beautiful Judith of Rock Collage. How are you, Judith?
I am great. How are you?
I'm feeling good. I'm so excited to have you on today, and I'm so excited for us to cover this topic. Like I mentioned, you know, it's a lot of stress and tension going on in the world right now, and everyone is being forced to stay inside. And while for some that may be a joy, but for others that may be bringing forth some tension and some stress if you're in a crowded home full of people, different energy, or, you know, just everything that's going on. So I think this is such a perfect time to have this conversation. And I'm so happy to have you, of all people, to help me cover this topic. I get a lot of questions in regards to how to cleanse the energy in our space, in our home, in our car, in our workspace. So I'm just happy to have you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So I want to just jump right into the conversation. With us first just talking about, or having you rather explain, like, what does it mean to have energy in a space? Because maybe some listeners are like, I got energy in my space. What does that mean? Like, could you tell us, like, what does it mean to have energy in your space, and how do we clear the energy from the space?
Sure. So when it comes to energy, everyone has a place where they can be somewhat like they feel like they're safe, and you feel like it's home. I like to typically tell people your home is your body. So if your energy is off, you feel ill, you feel uneasy, you feel anxious. So if your space where you call sacred is off or the energy is off, then you might need to cleanse it. And when it comes to cleansing it, there are different ways to do that. It might be simply decluttering. It might be using bleach and Clorox and limes and lemons and, ammonia and all that other stuff. Or it could be, air-wise, where you use sprays or aromatherapy or sage to basically get that energy in the room or in the common space to feel more light and airy.
So how could somebody understand how energy can even fill the space? I'm thinking of certain listeners that may be wondering, you know, how they would even know that they need to clear a space. Like, first, like, how I'm trying to describe it. How can somebody wrap their mind around the concept of, let's just use a house, for example, like my home is like full of energy. Like, how can you break that down for somebody who maybe doesn't even understand the concept of energy work all like that, for them to even know, like, oh, my energy good, I'm feeling great, I don't got to clear out no energy in my house, we good over here. Like, how can they even wrap their mind around that concept?
That's so funny because I can honestly relate to that. If some people are used to being alone at home, then the energy might feel great and, serene and bliss. And it's unbothered, untouched.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas being that, COVID's got us locked down in our homes, and you might be, you might have guests over that you didn't necessarily think would be there, and we're
Mm-hmm.
all locked down for God knows how long,
Mm-hmm.
and your energy shifted. You feel like you're anxious because you don't know what's going to happen today or tomorrow or whatever, but you're also dealing with other people's and their energy and
Mm.
their tension and all that other stuff. So the air tends to feel dense,
Ah,
tend to
okay.
feel like you can cut it with a butter knife. Your shoulders get tense, and you might not notice, but your shoulders are going closer to your ears rather than just
Mm-hmm.
laying, you know, where they should be.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
you might feel stress in the back of your neck. Your back might hurt sometimes, and these are all like indicators of like the energy in a room or a space making you feel tense.
Mm-hmm. And I think
Hey Queens, isn't this such a great episode? Be sure to check out the Afro Chi Healers Directory, where you can find healers in your area offering similar services to the guests on today's podcast. If you are a healer, please be sure to join the directory so that Black women can locate your healing services and offerings. To join and view the directory, please visit afroqi.com. Okay, let's jump back into this episode.
that's relatable. I think a lot of people can relate, maybe to an example of like walking into a room and
Hmm.
not and feeling uncomfortable, maybe not even being able to verbalize why you feel uncomfortable, but that
Oh yeah,
feeling, like that is energy, guys. Like,
definitely.
so if you're feeling those things that she mentioned, that is a good indicator that you should probably cleanse out the energy in your space.
Oh yeah.
And you mentioned some tools. You mentioned sage, you mentioned spray. Can we talk a little bit about those? Because I'm sure people may have seen, sage, or maybe they've been around other people that have burned it. But could you explain to us a little bit more about the healing benefits of sage and the different sprays that you mentioned?
Sure. So I love sage, and fun fact, there are a million different combinations of sage or, herbal smudges that you can burn or light in your home and cleanse the air and everything. The most
Mm-hmm.
commonly known is white sage, which everyone knows.
Mm-hmm.
I predominantly get my white sage from California. I deal with one farmer, and they organically grow it. The beautiful thing about white sage is that if anyone that has respiratory issues or any like psoriasis or eczema, what the sage does is when you burn, you use the smoke to cleanse your space. It actually collects any of the dust and pollen and microbes in the air, and it brings it down.
Ah,
So when it's bringing it down, you can breathe better. You feel lighter. And once the air is done and you open your window or let the door open and you let that air out, 95% of all of that negative energy and the dust and pollen, all that stuff has been either fallen to the ground or out the window or out the door.
nice. That is good to
Yeah, a lot of
know.
people don't know that. Some people feel, oh, only going to burn my sage when I need to, cleanse the room or whatever. No, sometimes it's really good if you have someone that or you yourself has asthma or respiratory issues or, like allergies to the
Mm-hmm.
air or psoriasis or even eczema. Like I noticed myself when I tell people, hey, if you got eczema or whatever, it's the air in your room or it's the air that's circulating because uh, eczema definitely is a dietary issue, but sometimes it's the atmosphere itself.
Mm-hmm.
Stress can cause your skin to break out. So
That is
I
good
like
to know.
sage for that. Yeah.
So sage, what would be, maybe could you give us like your top three? So sage, what would be another good one, to a tool to use to cleanse out the energy in a space?
Some people don't like burning sage, so if you have Florida water, you
Ah,
can use. I preferably like spring water or distilled water. So one part, no, 2 parts distilled water, 1 part Florida water, and maybe your favorite essential oil or whatever. Mix
mm-hmm.
that in a bottle and just spray the air. It does something, it does similar effects, and you can throw a few sage sprigs in there. It won't mold or anything, and you're good to go.
So you can make your homemade spray. So I know somebody right now is listening and they're saying Florida water. So she means I got to drive all the way to
No.
Florida and I got to find some water out in Florida and fill my bottle up with it. Then I got to come back home, get some essentials. But the person listening, could you tell us what Florida water is?
Florida water.
I know
how you put
somebody's
that
thinking
there.
that. I know somebody is thinking that.
Got you. Florida water, if you've ever been to like a spiritual shop or a botanica or a crystal shop or whatever, you'll see this bottle. It's like a greenish liquid. It's a cologne, so to speak, and it has cleansing properties similar to the actual herb of sage. The only thing is when you add a little bit to water, it turns from that clear greenish color to a cloudy white color. And what it's doing is it's mixing itself with the whatever water you put it in, and it's allowing itself to fully infuse in that water to help spread the energy and spread the cleansing faster.
Okay, so for those who do not live in Florida, don't worry, you can still get your hands on Florida
Yes.
water. It, like you said, it's a cologne, it comes in a bottle. You can order it online. You can
Crystal shops.
from crystal shops. So don't think that you have to go to Florida and get this water. That's the name of it. So great. Okay, so we have sage, we have a Florida water that we can mix with spring water and some essential oils. What would be like number 3? What would you say?
Number 3, and it's kind of like a combo. So
Okay.
I would definitely like declutter and do a deep clean.
Okay.
Because clutter causes energy in a room to not flow. If you've ever heard of the term Feng Shui, I know someone's listening right now, like, now she's talking Chinese. No. So in a home or in an apartment or whatever, you want the flow of energy to pass through equally and serenely, I guess. And if you have a pile of junk somewhere and you left that pile of junk there for months on end, that energy is going to start stagnating itself into your body, into your emotions, into the room, into the home. And the more clutter, the more depression, the more tense, the more uneasy one might feel, and not notice that it's that clutter there in the room or in the space that's causing them to feel that way. So definitely declutter, go through stuff. We as Americans are consumer, like, happy people, and minimalist sometimes is a great way to start. And going through your stuff and seeing what you really need versus what you're hoarding can actually definitely cleanse the space for you. So all 3 things could definitely help you.
I think this is for those who are home right now, this would be a good time to declutter, to do some spring cleaning, using that time that we have, that we're home.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. What about Palo Santo? Could you,
Oh.
I know I said top 3, but I just wanted to throw that one out there as well.
So Palo Santo actually comes from 2 countries. It's a tree. It's a bark of a tree. It has a really nice, sweet. I don't want to compare it to cinnamon, but for those of you who don't know what it is, I can compare it to like a cinnamony, sweet agave type scent when you burn it. It is an endangered tree. So depending on where you get it, you should definitely look into getting it humanely sourced. For some people, they might find Palo Santo to be difficult to light and keep lit. They do sell Palo Santo dust or cones or incense sticks, which are ethically sourced, and I definitely recommend people using that. You would use Palo Santo after you did sage or cleanse the room. You wouldn't use it as a cleanser because it's a holy wood and the space has to be cleared before you use it, because it's used to bring in abundance. It's used to bring in happiness and all that other stuff. So you want to invite energies with that scent.
Perfect. And I think some people probably have seen it and don't know what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like, she said, it looks like a piece of tree
Wood.
bark. Yep,
Yeah.
piece of wood. Awesome. So how often would you say somebody should clear their space?
So for like the decluttering part, like that's a huge project in itself. So
Mm-hmm.
do that, do one small thing a day or a week and definitely see how you feel. You should definitely deep clean your home at least once a month so that you can feel like there's some progress going on. When it comes to saging or spraying, aromatherapy, I would definitely recommend aromatherapy every single day
Yeah.
because aromatherapy does calm the senses. It does alleviate stress, anxiety. You'll notice your shoulders fall down quite easily. Your memory retention is better, and your focus is on point. Burning sage, I'd say you can burn sage like once a week. You don't necessarily have to do it daily unless you got some crazy people in your house and you're just like trying to scare them with the sage and running after them with the sage. So you could do it once a week or whenever you feel like you need that deep air, like dehumidifier mist thing going on. That's the best way I can explain it. If you have a dehumidifier, you'll notice the air in the space is different when you sage.
Nice. And that was going to be my next question, is like, what can happen if somebody does not cleanse the energy in their space? Like maybe they're decluttering and unpacking, but maybe not utilizing some of the tools that you mentioned, the spray, the sage, Palo Santo, aromatherapy. Like they're not cleansing the energy in the space. What can somebody expect to experience or feel?
Well, definitely more stress and mental anguish.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say that a lot of the clients that I've dealt with in the past that never use Sage and use it for the first time have reported back like, "Oh my God, this changed my life." I'm like, "Really?" And they're like in their late 40s or 50s and never used Sage ever before, and then come back and are like, "Oh my God, I've lived in this home for umpteen years and I finally Sage and it feels like a brand new place." So it could definitely change your perspective. It could definitely reduce your stress and anxiety. If you don't do it, that's perfectly fine. It's up to you, but it doesn't hurt to give it a try.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I know I always recommend people, like if they're especially moving into a new home or purchased a new car or anything that's like comes secondhand, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak, I'm always encouraging them to cleanse it because energy is transferable. So
Yep.
if you're buying a new home or getting an apartment or a car or whatever, to really utilize these tools to cleanse out the previous energy from those things so that
Mm-hmm.
you're kind of getting it fresh and new, right?
Yep. You kind of like reset the clock so it's like yours permanently.
Mm-hmm. Nice. I love it. So, like I said, this is an awesome time to have this conversation. I hope the listeners have a better understanding of things that they can pick up on within themselves that will kind of trigger them to think like, oh crap, like I do feel those things. I have been really tense. I have been really stressed, being in this
Mm-hmm.
house lately. Oh, I do have a lot of clutter. Like, I hope they're considering a lot of things that maybe they didn't before and can utilize this time. I know a lot of people are still out working more than ever, and that's even more reason to
Mm-hmm.
utilize these tools. Before we go, I do want to wrap up, but before we go, I know we talked a lot about using sage, spray, Palo Santo, aromatherapy, and things like that for like our home and our environment. Can we utilize those tools to cleanse ourselves?
Oh, yes. I was
Can
waiting
we
for you to say that.
Yes, can we
Ask me
talk
now.
about that? Because I'm thinking about the folks that are having to go out and are having to interact. I'm thinking about that grocery store worker that are getting
Oh
all
gosh.
of the anxious shoppers coming into the store and how much anxiety they must already have.
Oh
And then
yeah.
now they're interacting with all of these other anxious people. So then
Mm-hmm.
they take their anxiety and all of the other anxiety that has attached to them while they were at work, and then they go home. So can we talk about how we can use these tools to cleanse our bodies, cleanse ourselves?
Definitely. So if you're constantly in a give and take situation where you're like around negative stuff and you just want to be yourself, um, definitely you can have like a big bundle. Like they have the 10-inch but or 12-inch bundles of sage, and you can use that literally a little bit on yourself every single day if you're around constant negative energy. And you can wrap it around your head, the smudge. Make sure you don't get too close to your eyes because you can get that smoke in your eye. Focus on the back of the neck. The reason being because I've been taught that the back of your neck is the portal to your soul. So if you smudge that, if you use that smoke in the back of your neck, you'll feel instant relief. And then you continue your way down all the way to the feet, and then smudge the bottoms of your feet, and you'll feel like a different person. And do that when you first step into the house. Before you like walk all over the space, like leave that big old bundle of sage right by the door. Sage yourself really quickly, remove your clothing, and go about your business.
I love it. So we can see each other, guys. You can't see us, but we can see each other. So she gave like this awesome demonstration of how to like sage yourself. So you light the sage and you almost like you trace your body with the smoke. So you'll have it, say, in your dominant hand, if it's your right hand or whatever, and you take it and you let the smoke, like I said, like trace over your body, giving special attention to your lower part of the back of your neck and under your feet. What about the spray? Could somebody spray themselves with the...
Oh, yes. So I love the spray, especially in my car, because whenever I've like done interacting with someone that just feels heavy, you ever been around someone that you're just like, oh my God, you're so tense. Like, what happened to you, boo? So what I do is I have like 2 sprays in my car. They're different scents. And I just basically spray myself like around my head, around my shoulders. And then I spray real quick. And then I like go back and forth in there. And I look like a crazy person in my car. I don't care. I just feel much better after. And then I just go about my day. So definitely the same mixture combo that I said earlier, you can definitely use that and have that in your car, in your purse or whatever. You can use that whenever you go to work or whatever, because it's perfectly fine. There's no smoke in there. So use it in your office space or whatever whenever you get back to your office, and just cleanse your space, and you'll feel like it's much lighter and airy and bubbly and inviting.
I love it. I love it. I like using both, a combo of both. I love it. And the spray, like you said, it's easily accessible because it's no smoke. So if somebody is working somewhere where they can't light something, having that spray, and you can put it in a little bottle, like you said, keep it in your purse or whatever, and it just can look like little perfume. You just spray it on you and let it mist over you.
Definitely.
Nice. So I'm excited. I'm excited for the listeners to hear, because I get a lot of personal questions about energy cleansing tools. So I was like, you know what? I gotta have Judith on to talk about this, because this is your thing, and she has a store, and now you're able to do items online, correct?
Definitely, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So guys, make sure you reach out to her. I will leave all of her information in the description, so you can check out her store. You're able to purchase everything online. She has some awesome tools. Make sure you connect with her. And I'm just so excited again for everyone to hear and really engage in cleansing the energy in their space, cleansing their personal energy, especially with all that is going on right now. This is an awesome time. If you have been thinking about these tools that Judith mentioned, if you have them at home maybe and you've never lit your sage before, it's just kind of been sitting there, now you're like, oh, this is what I use this thing for. Now I see why I should be using this. So again, Judith, thank you so much. And I am so excited for the listeners to hear all about all of the energy cleansing tools that they can use. Thank you so much.
You are very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for joining us this week on the Afro Chi podcast. Be sure to visit our website at afroqi.com and on all social media platforms at the Afro QI. Subscribe to this podcast now so you never miss a show.